Who told you it wasn't going to work? Who told you now was not the right time? You are not the right person. That is a horrible idea. Who told you, and why did you believe them? Why? Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the KimUnity Soulutions Podcast, the only podcast that's inspiring leadership and humanity within and beyond the workplace. It is so good to be with you all today. Today's episode is inspired by an engagement that I attended, and it was called A League of Your Own. It was put on by Jacoy James Pugh with Black Women's Wall Street and Dr. Renee with Women of Influence. And it was such a great event to attend. I thoroughly enjoyed it, learned from it, took it away, and I am still soaking it in and applying it. And what I want to talk about today is permission. That was one of the topics that they spoke about at this conference. And it really spoke to me because I was already thinking about things and putting things in order to what I wanted to correct in my own life, what I wanted to apply in my own life. And even up until I drove into that parking lot, I was telling myself, okay, I'm going to do this. Right at this moment, from here on out, I'm going to do this. And when I got in there and I didn't know what the message was going to be, but when I heard it, it spoke to me. And that's what I want to speak with you all today about self-imposed limitations. Self-imposed limitations. We can put our own barriers up to prevent us from going to the next level. Yes, I'm saying we are, even though it could be coming from the outside, because we are allowing it. We are allowing it. We are trusting others instead of trusting ourselves, our own instincts, our own faith, and it's blocking us from where we need to be. I don't know what you're going through. I don't know what your experiences are. I don't know who you're around. I don't know who's in your ear. I don't know what goals you have set for yourself. But if you really think about it, if you really dig down, you may not even realize it yet. But if you truly sit with yourself and figure out why you haven't taken that step, why you haven't pursued your dream, why you're hesitant, if you really sit with yourself and get to the root of it, it could be because you're waiting for permission. And when I first heard it, I was like, no, I'm not waiting for permission. I'm grown. I'm not waiting for permission. Because in certain areas, in most areas, you're probably, uh, self-motivated. You go out, you get it done. But there may be an area where you are hesitant, where you are delaying action. Make sure that you know the root of it. The fact of the matter is, you may just be waiting on someone. Maybe you told someone your dream or your idea, and they said, oh, that's not going to work. And even though you have it thought out in your mind, you have not taken action because you have not gotten that secondary approval. Or maybe they didn't say it's not going to work. Maybe they said the economy is bad. Or maybe you've been in this career for so long and now you want to change. You want to redirect. You want to really go after what you truly love. But someone is in your ear saying, but you're so close to retirement. You've been there for so long. Just finish it out. Or you're so good at it. I'm saying that somebody's in your ear, but it could be your own self-talk. What are you telling yourself that is stopping you from taking that next step? When I tell you This message spoke to me. That's why I had to share. That's why I had to share. Because even in my own life, and I'll share my experience, sometimes I can be too considerate. I could be too considerate. It doesn't have to be with family or friends. It could be with a job. It could be with anything. You are so hell-bent on making sure everyone is straight around you, making sure everyone has what they need. Everyone is prepared for their next level. Your kids are going to school, so you're putting your stuff on the back burner so you can prepare them. But guess what? After that, then you're working on something else for someone else. At what point are we going to put ourselves first? At what point are you going to go for it? Until you do, and this is how I visualize it, until you do, it's like playing freeze tag all through life. You are at a standstill. You're frozen until somebody comes and touches you and gives you permission to move. And then you're able to take a few steps and all of a sudden they tap you again. It's time to free yourself. It's time to take back your authority, take back the key, and know that you are free. You are free to make those decisions, those life decisions that are impacting you. It's so important to take your power back. But in order to take that power back, you have to know that you have given it away. What have you given away that you didn't even realize was no longer in your control? Some of us are not waiting for opportunity. You're waiting for approval. You're waiting for everybody to be in your corner to say, that's a great idea. I approve. Get that approval stamp. You already have the opportunity. The idea has already came into your mind. That is vision. And then the resources are there. That's provision. When you already have the provision, you don't need someone else's permission because God has already provided. You also have to look at, okay, who is it that's telling me this? What am I listening to? What am I surrounded by? You may not have thought about this yet. So maybe it'll hit you later. Maybe a week or two down the line after you listen to this message and you get back on track, you get back into that mind frame, that flow, that free flow. And you're like, oh, this is what Kim was talking about. Because you want to write that book and you finally got in the flow of it and it's just coming to you. The words, the chapters, the topics is coming to you. And then there's an interruption. And then there's a girl, you're going to wear yourself out. You know you have to go to work in the morning. So you close up everything. And you take that bubble bath and you get in the bed. Then you clock in the next morning, doing the same thing you're trying to get out of. Another day pushed back. Another day you're out of the zone. Whatever it may be. It could be something to the effect of you just graduated. And now you have a new title. You're Dr. Smith. You are attorney something. But you don't feel comfortable saying that in the surroundings that you're in. Take your power. Reclaim your time, your power. Or how long are you going to live your life for someone else? Now, unless what they're telling you is where you want to go, you need to start listening to self. You need to listen to the word. You need to start listening to what empowers you. You also have to look at where they are. Are they where you want to be? Can they relate to where you're trying to go? If you have an entrepreneur mindset, or if you're looking at doing something that is outside of a corporate job or a career or the norm, I'll say the norm, and you're speaking to someone who is in the norm, they don't understand that, okay, yes, I have to pay my bills. I need to work this full-time job, but when I get off, I also have to work on this. I also have to put in my time. I work better in the mornings. So I may need to get up early out of bed and do this part and then later clock in at my other job, or vice versa. Reclaim your time, reclaim your power. Who says you can't? Says who? You have the permission, and some things are just ingrained in you because of when you were younger, the stories you were told when you were younger. Something as simple as your parents went into debt while you were growing up. So they would always tell you never use a credit card, never use a credit card, never use a credit card. And now here you are with no credit when you need credit in order to get the home you dream of. In order to start that business line of credit, you need that personal credit. How long are you going to hold on to the old, reaching for the new? And I had a whole other episode about grabbers and holders and how we pursue differently or just drift with no goal in sight, no target. But I hope this is helping someone. I hope that it sparks something in you. And and if this is not one of your challenges, I salute you. We salute you. Because I didn't think that I had any until I had to sit back and say, oh, okay, this is a little deeper than what I thought. I'm hesitant of being on social media because I grew up with, what goes on in this house stays in this house, or having a private life. I don't do certain things because of how I was raised. And some things I still won't do, regardless of if it's common practice. There's certain things I still won't do, but it's not going to be the things that hold me back from my destiny. Who said you can't? And just because they are saying otherwise, regardless of what it is, just because they are saying otherwise, doesn't mean that they have ill intents. Maybe they're concerned about your reputation. Maybe they're concerned about your financial stability. Maybe they're worried about your sleep. Maybe they're worried about your safety. Maybe they don't want you to fail. Maybe they don't want you to make the same mistakes they made. And with all that being said, maybe you need to start surrounding yourself with people who have been successful, people who know that it's possible, people that have accomplished their own impossibles. See, we have to pay attention to our environment, even if it's family, because if we just stop growing because of their mistakes, what happens to our next generation? If the people before us attempted and failed and stopped, and then they tell us, hey, don't go where I went, stay here, they're creating a ceiling. And then that next generation is repetitive and is also lowering the standards. Every single generation or every single life. When I say you don't need a permission slip, You don't need permission. You have a vision. You have provision. Provision is being provided for. You see, God is not going to give you vision and not provide to help you get there. But you have to be in motion. You have to be working. You have to be moving. Go for it. Go for it. Quit seeking everyone else's input. There's some things I'm doing now that, number one, I because of prior experiences, I've learned, and you'll notice this even in your own life. Once you see how someone responds, you have to remember that. So the next time you don't go that route, because someone can easily talk you out of your dreams, not intentionally, but it can be their facial expression when you tell a story. It could be their tone. It could be the way they, okay. And some of that is because you've been growing behind the scenes. You've been getting experience in other areas. You've been building up your knowledge wheelhouse. You're a changed person. You've been in new environments. You've been listening to new ideas, different people. So you're growing behind the scenes. And people don't see that growth. So now they're looking at you like, how are you going to do that? Oh, you're going to do that? Okay, well, hey, just keep your day job. Make sure it's stable. Don't quit yet. Don't go that route. I mean, they're basing it off of who they think they know. But it's your job to know who you are and whose you are and the path and the purpose you're supposed to follow. Ooh, where are my notes? Where are my notes? I do not have my notes. There was another speaker there. So let me go through the list of all three or several people that were there, so I can give credit where credit is due, because I am still eating off of that meal. And thank you so much to Janet, who invited me to this event. Crystal Wembry, Dana Davis, and Dr. Christy K. Redmond. And there was also another gentleman there. I want to say his name was Johnny Wembry. And he said several things as well. He said, major things happen in minor moments. I want to say that's what he said. Major things happen in minor moments. He also said, oh my goodness, I can't remember. It's in my notes and I don't have it up here with me. But there are just so many different nuggets that I was able to take away and to apply and to see how I had been impacted by it. But now let's talk about the cost. The cost of awaiting permission. The cost of waiting for everyone to get on board. The cost of not trusting yourself. You will have a lifetime full of regret. You might start, having some kind of disdain towards that other person when really it was you. You'll be unhappy, unsatisfied, maybe bitter. I don't know if you've ever met anybody who made a mistake in their past and then, that's all they talk about. They haven't gotten over it. It could be a basketball player who in high school who, hurt themselves and wasn't able to get drafted in football or whatever it may be. The delayed growth, that's a cost as well. Delayed income. I'm speaking about this now so that anyone who has been holding off or putting to the side or not moving forward, not pursuing their dreams because of something that has happened to someone else or a word that was dropped into your ear in your spirit. The time is now. You said in January that you were going to go for it. And ever since then, something's been popping up. Something has been popping up. It happened to me. I was working on something. I got to the end of it and I was ready to celebrate. And then I got a phone call that someone had been in a car accident. It's like you get on this, you have this momentum, and then something tries to stop it. Don't let it stop it. No, we're not in January anymore, but don't think the year is over. Don't think you cannot still accomplish your dreams, your goals. Don't start adjusting the dollar amount that you expected to make or the number of customers or the impact that you are trying to make on your community. Don't think that you can't get back into school or that no one is hiring right now. Don't think that you can't. Know your authority. And when you have God's provision, you don't need anyone else's permission. I want you to stick with that. I want you to think about that. And I want you to go for it. I am your host, Kim the SME. As always, I am only speaking from my experiences, SM. I also want you to check out my questions and perspectives conversation cards. They are now digital. You don't have to download anything. It is accessible online at www.qandpcards.com. You just have to put your name, your email, and you can start playing and joining in the conversation with other people in the room. Let's move away from small talk into more meaningful conversations such as this. Thank you so much to Jacoy with Black Women's Wall Street, Dr. Renee with Women in Influence, and all of the other panelists that were there. Again, thank you to Janet for inviting me to this event. This episode is a thank you to them and a remembrance for me. And I hope that you have found it helpful for yourself. Go for it. Go for it. You are free to succeed. You are free to excel. You are free to try. You are free to be you in all that God has called you to be. Until next time, you all be blessed. Bye-bye.